Welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church's online worship. I'm John Howard, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. I serve as a member of the congregation's Board of Trustees. We are a freely gathered, open, welcoming community supported by your contributions, which can be made with the donate button on our website, by going to our Breeze program if you are a member, or by mailing your check to 524 Allen Avenue, Portland, Maine. Please note if the donation is your pledge or a gift to our Share the Plate. Our Share the Plate for December is the Minister's Discretionary Fund. The Minister's Discretionary Fund is a visible demonstration of our care for each other. Your generous gifts allow the minister to provide assistance to members of our church community or of the greater Portland community who are experiencing difficult times financially. To learn more about this program or to apply for assistance, please go to our website and click on Share the Plate under the slideshow. You are invited to join us today, December 13th at 10:45 a.m. for our Congregational Conversations and Coffee Hour. This Zoom link can be found on our website and order of service. To learn more about Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church, our website can be found at a2u2.org. Thank you for joining us.
Our call to worship words are those of the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. Here in this place, may we find peace. Here in this place of connection, may we find life-giving community. Here in this place of rest, let the unrest of our hearts turn us toward justice. Here in this space made sacred by memories of connection, let us each find ourselves part of the new that grows from the old in the spiraling unity of years. Please join me now in singing Find a Stillness.
Good morning. Last night, families around the world lit Hanukkah candles, lighting 3 candles for the 3rd night of the festival. So I bring this morning the practice of lighting candles to this Unitarian Universalist congregation, where many of us, like myself, have a Jewish background or want to honor the Jewish holidays. The rabbis of the Talmud, well, they argued a lot, and one of the things they argued over was how one should light the Hanukkah lights. One rabbi and his school of thought that each night you should add an extra light, that on the first night you light 1 candle or lamp, and the second night you light 2, and so on. Another school of thought said, no, you should start with 8 and get fewer and fewer as it goes on. So from 8 candles and lamps or lights to 7 and 6. Well, as you may have guessed, the school of thought about adding light won over time, that's what we do. And the rationale is that we should be increasing light. We should be increasing joy in the world. We should be bringing more light to darkness. I'm taking that to heart this year, that in a year where things have been hard, let's add light. Let's add joy. Let's add wonder. So whatever that looks like for you, may this be a season of increasing light and joy, warmth and connection during long nights. I'll sing the Hanukkah blessings in Hebrew, the first 2 blessings over the candle, and the third for the first time in a year where one does something. And since this is the first Sunday this year where we're lighting Hanukkah candles together, we'll sing that one as well. And following that, we'll say the English translation. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem ba'azman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'echianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Blessed are you, source of all, who brings moments of holiness to our lives through the ritual of lighting the Hanukkah lights. Blessed are you, source of all, who brings our attention to miracles from ages past to this very moment. Blessed are you, source of all, who has given us life, sustained us, and brought us to this very moment. And let us say, Amen. Happy Hanukkah.
The stillness, hold the stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Find the stillness, hold the stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence. silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
"Be still," said my teacher when I danced while she read. I wish she could hear the music in my head. "Be still," said my family when I bounced through the kitchen. I said I'm a kangaroo now, but they just didn't listen. "Be still," said my dad when I was supposed to be asleep. I told him I wasn't sleepy and neither were my sheep. Be still, 99 times it was said until someone for the 100th time said, "Can't you just be still?" That question kind of hurt. Is this something too hard for me to do? I wondered about this and thought it all through and realized I'm good at moving and being still too. I caught 3 fish with my net in the creek. I had to be still like a heron with slow-moving feet. I won hide and seek when no one could find me. I was still like the curtains I was hiding behind, and I was still in my tent while watching the stars. I was still in freeze dance when the music paused. Being still when I need to won't feel like a chore if I just remember when I've done it before. When I was a heron and caught a fish, when I was watching the stars and made a wish. I found peace in those moments, so I guess I will look forward to the times I get to be still.
Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace grace this time with harmony. Thy word of hope and shine light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Bird fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view. Help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far, and lead us each to see how we move through the winds of eternity. Light shine in, illuminate our inward view. Help us to see with clarity. may join our songs in new sounds that become oh, still holy.
I invite you into the spirit of prayer or meditation, as is your practice, with these words of the Reverend Mark Bellatini, Ode to Silence. You, silence, are the ground on which we build fragile sand castles of our every spoken word. You, silence, are quicksand where curses and cockiness and arrogance find their end. You, silence, are the strand of beach we stroll where loneliness turns into solitude, and our small heartbeats join the much vaster heartbeat of the tide and the wave. You, silence, are hand in which the pearl of the universe, grown out of the painful grain of human suffering, rests in heart-breaking beauty. You, silence, are the wide, bright delta into which the river of this prayer fans out before it flows into the indigo deep, quiet, dark, and lovely. Come, silence, fill this moment. In the Islamic tradition, the Prophet Muhammad tells the story of Hagar, the second wife of Abraham, found in the Hadith, Volume 4. And so the story goes. Hagar, the second wife of Abraham, becomes pregnant and gives birth to her son Ishmael. Life was really turbulent in that house of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar, and it became unbearable after the birth of Ishmael. Eventually, Hagar is banished from the home and finds herself in the wilderness with her young infant son. This is a retelling of that story. Abraham brought her and her son, Ishmael, to a place near the Kaaba, under a tree on the spot of Zamzam, at the highest place in the mosque. During those days, there was not a person in Mecca, nor was there any water, so Hagar sat with a leather bag containing some dates and a small water skin of water, while Abraham set out to return home. When the water in the water skin was gone and it had all been used up, Hagar was so thirsty, and so was her infant son. She was frantic. She left her son in search of water and found that the mountain of Safa was the nearest mountain to her. She stood on it and looked far into the valley so that she hoped to see somebody, but no one was around. Then she descended from Safa, and when she reached the valley, she tucked up her robe and ran through the valley like a person in distress and trouble, till she crossed the valley and reached the Marwa mountain, where she stood and looked, still expecting to see someone. But no one was there. When she reached Marwa for the last time, after going between the two mountains, back and forth 7 times, she stilled herself when she heard this voice. She cried out, "Do you have something to help me?" And behold, she saw an angel at the place of Zamzam, digging in the earth with his heel until the water sprouted out of the ground. Hagar started to make a basin around that water, and as the story goes, she put in her flask and filled the flask and had plenty of water. The angel who arrived told her, "Don't worry. This is the house of God, which will be rebuilt by your son and his father." Hagar and Ishmael remained in the valley. Travelers stopped for water, and the community grew in number. Ishmael and Abraham, who had returned from time to time, did eventually rebuild the Kaaba, and the city of Mecca developed, where the water continues to flow. Mecca remains the location of a sacred pilgrimage referred to as the Hajj, which will occur next year during July 17 and July 22nd. The Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and the others include profession of faith, almsgiving, prayer, and fasting. What began as a story of turbulent family life, what began as a story of isolation and challenge, became the story of faith and transformation. This story now reflects one of the pillars of Islam. This is an act of solidarity, celebrated every year in community in deep reverence and prayer. And this story comes up for me with our worship theme of stillness. Hagar, in her utterly desperate situation, left out in the wilderness with 1 flask of water, running out of water, worried for her child, with little but her faith, running between the 2 hills frantically, in search of help, in search of water, back and forth 7 times, with the angel appearing to her in her stillness, digging in the earth until the water flowed. Ishmael is referred to as the patriarch of Islam, and some refer to Hagar as the matriarch. This story is not only one of the birth of a child in challenging times and finding hope, but this story gives birth to the Islamic faith tradition. It's a story of resilience and new beginnings, the story of finding stillness that helps us connect with something sustaining, the story of Hagar and Ishmael, told and retold, is filled with strength and perseverance and the quieting of one's self to hear and reconnect to what is transformative and even holy. Perhaps some of us can connect with pieces of this story, times when we might have felt pushed to the brink of what we knew how to deal with. Perhaps some of us are finding that as this pandemic continues to go on longer than we ever imagined it would, that we are frustrated, we are tired, and we are even discouraged. Perhaps when we can find stillness for ourselves and quiet reflection, we too can hear a way forward, whether that's from our most deep intuition, whether it's from a connection to creativity which we hadn't found before, or perhaps it's a connection to this community and relationships that continue to be built and built on. We have ways forward, places and practices in life that invite our hearts to open in new ways. In this sense, our stories reflect Hagar's. Hagar's resilience reminds us that we can come out of challenging times with surprises that arise in the stillness. She found herself in this isolated, afraid place, and in her stillness, connecting with an angel, she found her way forward. She is one of the ancestors whose story is told over and over in the Islamic tradition, inviting us to reflect on our own Unitarian Universalism. Theologian Christer Stendel coined the term holy envy, describing the opportunity to engage with another's faith in ways that ground us and bring us back to our own practices. Some of our practices include familiarizing ourselves with our own ancestors. As Unitarian Universalists, we have a rich history to reflect on. I invite you to watch for the UU History series that will be starting in the new year. And we each bring our own Unitarian Universalist practice into this A2U2 community. For some, it's singing, others knitting, painting, meditating, justice work, writing, along with many other practices. Just this last Friday during the Open Ministers Zoom hour, Peter Reed, our congregation's treasurer, shared one of his centering practices. Peter has created a Unitarian Universalist meditation bead string with 7 beautiful flat beads that represent the 7 principles, and in between each of those flat beads is a small rounder bead. So there are 7 flat beads for the principles and 6 small beads representing the 6 sources of our faith. And at the very end of this string of beads is the Unitarian Universalist chalice symbol. That's one practice. And during this time of year when our days are shorter and the darkness of the evening is longer, perhaps we can find some of that stillness that Hagar found in her own exhaustion. Perhaps we'll find it in moments of creativity and energy that the story told of during the Time for All Ages. Perhaps it will be between great moments of movement that will see glimmers of stillness. Perhaps you too can be still and create connections and ignite your creativity and open your heart. Who or what calls you and what will call you out of the times of stillness? I invite you now to join in singing Hush.
Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do?
Now that you've heard the context of one of the stories about Hagar, I invite you to hear this reading, The First Thing, by the Dr. Moja Kaf, from her book Hagar Poems. I am Hagar, the immigrant. There came to me a revelation of the water. I left the world of Abraham, jugs sealed with cork, cooking grease jars, Sarah's careful kitchen fires. I walked across a razor-sharp horizon, slates of earth, sediment of ancient seas, to stand alone at this frontier, where the shape of the cup of morning is strange. The dome of sky, the mat of earth have shifted, where God does not have a house yet, and the times for prayer have not been appointed, where the only water is buried deep under the ground, and I must find it or my child will die. My people remain unborn. The first thing the founder does is look for water. I am Hagar, mother of a people. I stand here straddling the end and the beginning. Each rock cuts into the heel like God. Each step is blood, is risk, is prayer. May the light of our chalice and the light of the season invite us into moments of stillness and remind us that in the quiet and in our stillness we can connect to creativity, to hope, to our deepest, most sacred selves.